name is Jacqueline Rochetti. I am doing a lesson on 5th grade physical science, and I am certified in EC through 6 bilingual generalist. Today we're going to be learning about force and motion a little bit more. We did a little bit of that last week, and we did a little bit about simple machines. Who remembers what a simple machine is?
I do.
All right, Manuel?
It's where something is real simple that does something.
It is simple. Yeah. That's why they're called simple machines. For example, remember we talked about a seesaw and how it's got a little base and then just a flat platform. And when you put a weight on one side, what does it do?
It'll go down and the other side will go up.
It goes down and the other side goes up, right? So if this is my base and I put something right here, it's going to do this. And then it continuously goes up and down, right? Okay, so today we're going to identify the relationship between those parts of a system and be able to make educated predictions and inferences about the system. So we're actually going to make the system do something, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to have a little science experiment, and it's going to be called How to Fight a Dragon, or Can I Fight a Dragon with a Cannonball? We're going to use marbles. That's going to be our cannonball, and rulers. And we're going to cut out little dragons from this paper that I'm going to pass out to all of you. You're going to cut it out. Make sure you don't cut out on the dotted lines, though. You want to fold that part, not cut it. And that's going to be the dragon that we're going to fight. And if y'all will look over here, we have it set up already so y'all can see how it's going to work. Make sure that when you're doing this, you don't want to have other variables that are going to affect your experiment. So when you're doing this, make sure you don't lean on the table and do things to make it move and affect your results. We're going to use rulers, your marble. We're going to use tape so that you can make sure that your ruler doesn't move around. Okay, nice. So that your ruler doesn't move around, you're going to tape it just the tip though, and you want to make sure that where you're taping it, there's always a little space between the edge of the ruler and your first centimeter or millimeter marking, depending on what you're measuring with. There will always be a little space, so just make sure you tape in that tiny little space so that way you're not taking away millimeters from the ruler, from your measurement. And then you're going to position it to where the middle of your paper of your dragon is aligned with a little groove of your ruler. And you can test it a few times if you want to make sure that it's there. And once you figured it out, you can make a little marking on the table. Now remember, we're only using pencils because at the end we're going to erase everything. We're going to wipe this table clean. Okay, and that's where you will always start with your dragon. So that's going to be one of your controls. Remember we talked about controls. So that whenever we do the different times that we roll the marble, you're always going to start at that position. And we're going to start, the papers that I'm going to hand you have different measurements of where you start. The first one is 4 centimeters. And first of all, remember we're going to predict and make inferences before we actually measure it. So remember to predict. Okay, so if I put it at 4 centimeters, what will happen? How far do you think it will travel? So make your prediction and then test it out 3 times. On the piece of paper that I'm giving you, it tells you to do trial 1, trial 2, and trial 3, and then we're going to average it out. So we're going to do 4 centimeters one time. Make sure that your marble is in the 4 centimeter mark. And then you're going to roll it. And that's how far it rolls. So we're going to use my other ruler. We're measuring in centimeters. So you're going to make a little mark of where it ended. And from your starting point to where it ended, how far did it travel? And you're going to make that marking on your trial 1. So this was 8 centimeters. So we're going to put 8 centimeters on trial 1. And then you're going to do trial 2 and trial 3 and take your average. And then you're going to do the next one, 8 centimeters. do the same thing. Okay? But remember to make your predictions first, and in fact, before I hand you the papers, and before I hand you your materials, I want y'all to make your predictions first. So that way I make sure that all of you wrote them down. I'm going to go around the room and make sure that everybody has their predictions written down before we start. Okay, and remember, as we're doing this experiment, we're going to be using these skills. You're going to be estimating and measuring, you're going to be observing, you're going to be collecting and interpreting data. We're predicting and making inferences. So you're going to be using all of those skills that you already know how to use as you're doing this project. Do I have any questions before we start? Any questions?
No.
All right.